Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Very dark topic today, very dark fragrance review today. I have really, I don't know, it took me forever to get there. It took me forever to, I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to find the right words for this one. The mood is very dark, as you can see, very Hollywood-esque, but we're talking Hollywood noir. We're talking, if Betty Page ever had something else hidden other than the pinup history, you know, when you go digging even deeper and even more underneath the surface, and then you add mysteries and secrets of a lot of other characters, and you go deeper and deeper, that's what we're heading to. And that's when you kind of bump, and we're talking even before, but we're talking late 40s. You bump into Robert Piguet's Fracas. God, you know, I've searched for reviews online for this one. There are a couple. None of them are, I mean, it's hard to really talk about this one. I have it on my chest. I have it on this wrist here. I'm going to spray it fresh on this side just to kind of get the top notes. I've been letting this dry down for over an hour just to get that kind of dry down effect. And here we're going to have it fresh. 1948, the year it was launched. Robert Piguet, was a Swiss-born but a banker, actually, who, as his father was a banker as well. He did not want to really be a banker, so he wanted to do fashion. So he moved from Switzerland to Paris, and he started, you know, doing fashion. What is fascinating, I have here a couple of notes I've written down. We don't know much about Robert Piguet today. The native town in Switzerland where he was raised and born, I dare not butcher that name. It's really complicated to pronounce. You could just Google it. It's also on Wikipedia. Has allegedly purchased over 3,000 of his creations, and they are all archived in kind of a museum or a place dedicated to him in his hometown. So most of his creations are now to be seen in Switzerland. We don't know much about him. The fashion world does not talk much about him. But guess what? Christian Dior, Pierre Balmain, passed through the ateliers of Robert Piguet. Actually, he kind of discovered these designers. And think about that. Think about, like, okay, so what did Christian Dior say about him? He actually said that he learned everything he knows from I'm speaking French, from Robert Piguet. That's a huge statement. And as if that were not enough, Hubert de Givenchy also passed through the ateliers of Robert Piguet before, you know, they all became independent and they all started their own ateliers and maisons and became the iconic fashion houses we know today. They all got inspired by, they all worked for, and they all designed for Robert Piguet. That says a lot. And as if that were all not daring enough, Robert Piguet collaborated with something very rare for the times. He collaborated with a female parfumeur back in the day, already from the early 40s, during the Second World War. This one came out after the Second World War ended. However, I do not know when they started developing this one. To me, however, it still smells very much of Second World War. And it smells of pain, and it smells of hope at the same time, and it smells of power, it smells of oppression, it smells of seduction, but a dangerous kind, a very dangerous kind of seduction, the seduction that could lead you to death. It's a dark, dark, dark seduction. And it's a seduction that is floral. So it needs light to live. Flowers need a lot of light to live and a lot of water and humidity, you know. And yet the way that it's composed and all kind of placed in position as a puzzle, it forms a sort of supernova. It forms a black hole. It forms something that sucks you in and does not let you go. And it can take your breath away, asphyxiate you to a point of no return, where you feel the pleasure in losing that breath. And you feel pleasure of letting go, and you feel pleasure of annihilating yourself within it. It's a dangerous, dangerous potion. So the lady that co-created the perfume together with Robert Piguet is Germaine, how do you call it? Germaine Cellier. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Germaine, wherever you are, my dear, in the heavens up above, please do not hate me if I have butchered your name. She's one of the rare female perfumers of the time, and Robert Piguet worked with her. Also on his first release, Bandit. And yes, Bandit does mean the bandit. And in 1942, could you envision the ad campaign for Bandit? Let's put this one down for a second. They literally had models standing with knives and guns and pistols and these bottles of perfume, throwing them on the floor, smashing them like, rebels. That would be even groundbreaking for today. And it was done in 1942. Let's spray fracas and get into it. Okay. I am enveloped in a cloud of painful pleasure right now. Let's get to the notes. Okay, fracas. Top notes. I don't know if you could hear the sirens of the police cars and ambulances. There's a lot going on outside of the bunker. Danger is in the air, and it really fits the description of this fragrance, so let the sirens just play. I'm not going to tune them out. Hyacinth, peach, green leaves, bergamot, mandarin orange, orange blossom. That's just the top notes. Let's go into the middle notes. Rose geranium, rose, violet root, white iris, tuberose. And that tuberose is the killer and the culprit. Lily of the valley, gardenia, narcissus, jasmine, carnation, coriander, and the osmanthus. Now, that's just the mid notes. Are we ready for the base notes? Here we get to the woods. But they are bittersweet woods, because these woods know what has happened. They have seen it all. They know what evil has been done and what sort of passion has been consumed and has burnt like a flame in the middle of the forest. These woods that have survived, they know, and they hold the secret. And the woods are cedar, oak moss, vetiver. Then we have sandalwood, and the last two bits are not woods, it's musk and amber. This is insane. You know what I mean? The amount of ingredients in here are insane. And of course, most people smell out the tuberose. And yes, it's there. But it's thanks to the composition of everything added up together that you get this painful, black-haired, pale-faced, blood-red lipstick-placed creature that moves through the darkness only, no daylight. And it literally attracts anything that passes its way. And it absorbs that, just like a black hole. It literally annihilates you. It absorbs you, it takes you in, and it does not let you go. The beginning is painful. It almost smells as if I were somewhere in Asia drinking one of the most intense and complex teas that perhaps they only know how to make in Japan. And these teas, they suffocate you. They're so powdery in a way that they fill your entire olfactory senses like the throat and everything, and you have the feeling you're going to cough even though you're drinking liquid with tea in it. And the opening is like that. To many it smells artificial. To me it doesn't. To me it literally smells medicinal. And like poison. I have the feeling I'm almost in an Agatha Christie book where, you know, she often used to describe a very subtle smell of cyanide. I almost feel there's poison in this fragrance. I feel like there's cyanide in there, you know? And if I don't know how cyanide smells, but I envision it to smell like this. And it slowly poisons you, and you feel pleasure in kind of letting go of all your senses. So the opening is medicinal, and it tells you, beware, I am buttery. But that butter is there just to hide the poison, which is powdery and dry, but it's hidden inside that butter. So you're going to feel that moist, hiding something dry underneath. And now I'm going to move to this arm where we're drying down. Hints of gardenia, just like waving through. And we know that we cannot extract really the essence of gardenia, so we have to kind of compose around it to create the illusion of gardenia. It's a very different gardenia from what we're used to smelling from Chanel. This gardenia is perhaps closer to the suffocation aspect of having an actual gardenia plant and flower and blossom inside your house. It intoxicates you. This one too, it's a gardenia that is literally the Bonnie and Clyde with the tuberose. They kind of team them up together, and they're in it for the kill. They're not in it to please. No, they have an unsatiated desire for blood and revenge. Well, we don't know why they need to revenge themselves or anybody else. So they are literally battling it out for your soul because that's what they're thirsty for. This bottle shape does not do it justice. I've done some research. There have been other bottle shapes throughout the years. I mean, they state that they want it to come as close as possible to the original. It's simple. This plastic top, I mean, you know, it doesn't really do it justice at all, honestly. I would have designed a different bottle for this one. I like the font. The font is beautiful, very 20s. What is interesting, the box states that this formula is the original formula from the 40s. Now, given the latest IFRA, you know, perfume regulations, I would say that probably many of the ingredients in here are not the same ingredients that they would have used in the 40s. So, and I have not smelled a fracas from the 40s. I cannot compare. But what I'm smelling now smells timeless. It really smells timeless. Second World War, I mentioned before, we have that depth, we have that pain of all that loss, that human loss of all those souls, you know, and we have all that in here. I don't know, maybe it's just an afterthought. I'm at the loss of my chair as well because I'm sitting on literally, and I'm losing my outfit. I'm losing everything, guys. So let's just let's just get into this as properly as we can. Okay. The loss of souls, you know, there's a loss of communication as well because the pain is not just the war. You can have to consider, during the Second World War in particular, most of the men, or all of the men that were of age, and towards the end of the war, even, you know, little children, were taken to battle on the front. So women had to take charge. Women had to take control of certain things in the cities, in administration positions. And after the war ended, women started losing their positions again, their power, whatever sort of control they managed to gain during the Second World War because the men were gone. They lost it. They were starting to lose it again. By 1948, it was obviously clear that men have taken back their position. This fragrance smells of that sort of pain as well. It's a scream. And yes, it's marketed and it was targeted back then, you know, for very conscious, strong women. You know me, fragrances don't have a gender. I don't see them ever as anything that has any sort of gender. They're genderless. They're just They are potions of love, literally. You gotta love him or hate him. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with gender. Anyway, you have to see it this way. Uh, I kind of sense that sort of pain, that post-war pain as well, of something so magical and coordinated and disciplined as, you know, women were during the Second World War. And thanks to them, also the world managed to survive, you know, the war. Losing all of that control and not even being, you know, granted an appropriate thank you, an acknowledgement for, well, because a lot of men, you know, got afraid. They're like, oh my God, actually the world runs pretty well without us. So, you know, that fear as well, tickled throughout there, you know, unspoken fear is in here. And this one screams of a presence that needs to be acknowledged, that needs to be respected. It's desperate almost, because there are no words. It's just a smell. And it's a smell that pushes you in a place where you feel like you need to know more, but you can't, because nobody's allowed to speak out of fear. People needed to keep secrets. People were not allowed to really speak their mind. In many instances, they weren't allowed to really say what they thought and what they felt. And I think perhaps that's why many fragrances of that time were developed in a certain way to speak for these people. Yeah, I think that's the point. And think about it this way. Why are so many fragrances today so watered down and so likable, pleasant, really annoying? Because we're so opinionated today. Every person on the internet, faceless troll without a real name, you know, can go and write whatever the heck they want to write about you, to shame you, to bash you. They can give their opinions as much as they want, no matter how, you know, founded, how real, how truthful or not truthful they are. Fragrances almost in a way, you know, do not need to fulfill that need for speaking for somebody else. They're kind of just like silent little observers, you know. Fragrances are like just, you know, in the back corner of somebody else's presence. Heaven forbid the fragrance would kind of dare to step up, you know, in the game and kind of say what the fragrance thinks. And I think that's why fragrances today are mostly dull. Most of the releases coming today are pretty boring. But back in the day, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, even the 70s, even throughout the 80s, where, for example, being homosexual was illegal in most countries of the first world still, fragrances spoke volumes when words were not allowed to be outspoken. Think about that. And that alone also merits so much respect. And a fragrance like Fracas, I cried the first time I reached the dry down of this perfume. It made me cry. I mean, I don't know, maybe it happened before with other fragrances, but nothing like this one. Nothing brought me to that place where it just, the dry down just triggers something in you and it brings you to tears. They're not tears of pain or sorrow, but they're also not tears of joy. They are just, it's an emotion so pure and so precise that it has to cut like a knife. And it cuts through you, and you kind of get a glimpse of the truth. It's there for just a split second, and then it's gone. And of course you cry. You have no other choice. When you're confronted with something so pure, tears seem to be the best way to express that emotion, that purity. And there is no, it transcends, oh, this smells good, oh, this smells bad. You are on another level. All of a sudden, there is no need for judgment. There is no need for provocation anymore. You just realize all your flaws, all your mistakes, all your virtues. They're all there, present in that split second while you're being sucked in by that black hole, by that, supernova, which is fracas. And it's so beautiful. That feeling. It's heavy. It's like a cross. It's a burden. And you don't want that. You don't want to have to carry that cross around. And yet you do. You make the decision. You actively, willingly let yourself succumb, fall underneath its pressure. You pick up that heavy cross, put it on your shoulder and you start dragging it along with you. And you're crying and you're in agony. And you realize you're happy. It's the most complex emotion to blend in the happiness and the pain in one. That's what fracas is. And that woman that's dressed in this gorgeous, femme fatale noir thing, you realize it's all just makeup, play pretend. Once she takes all that off, she is fragile, vulnerable, and in pain. A lot of pain, but she's so happy that you found her and that you were ready to really see behind the surface, that you were ready to go deeper, to really get to know her. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked this review. If you have, please do thumb it up. Let me know what you thought in the description box down below. If you haven't already but wish to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So, no matter how deep the pain is, we can only overcome it if we never give up on love. Love you guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye.